Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting. We're back. I don't have Dave with me today, flying solo in terms of hosting duties. However, I do have a super fun guest to bring on here. Minimal housekeeping this afternoon, recording this a little bit more in advance than we normally do. Because of some travel related things that are happening, because Dave is out and then I'm out after this. So this is called planning ahead. But the problem is I don't know what our giveaway is for November yet. But this will air and there will be a giveaway. That being said, said giveaway, whatever it is, first of all, congratulations to those of you that won the October giveaway. You were selected a couple days ago, and I hope you're enjoying your prizes. Secondly, the giveaway for this month, whatever mystery future Eric is going to post on Instagram, will be pinned at the top of our Instagram page. So at AIC_podcast on Instagram, you will find a pinned post for what will likely be, actually, I think I do know what it is. I think it is a Jazzwares AEW Chase Billy Gunn, Unrivaled Billy Gunn. That's actually what it is, because November is Billy Gunn's birthday, and why not celebrate one of the most ageless professional wrestlers of all time? So that's right. I do remember what it is now. It's all coming back to me. Yeah, so you can head over to at AIC_podcast, look for that pinned post, and enter yourself in to win an AEW Unrivaled Chase Billy Gunn. I don't have a picture of it yet because it hasn't happened, but it'll happen. It's there already. It's so strange doing this without Dave. The banter, I feel like I'm talking to myself. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to bring on our guest now, because that's going to be a whole lot more interesting than me talking in circles. Today on Adventures in Collecting, I am joined by a toy industry veteran who has spent more than 25 years shaping some of your and my favorite collectibles, from McFarlane Toys to Super 7, and now he's crafting something under his own banner. So Michael Gulen, founder of Scrambled Eggs Creative, has taken everything he's learned from decades in the toy world and poured it into his latest project and collaboration with any means necessary. I Am Broken, the Bag Lady Vinyl Companion. Michael, welcome to Adventures in Collecting.
Hey, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for saving me from myself.
Yeah, you can actually talk to me now.
It's great. It's great. I much rather talk to someone else than myself. But yeah, seriously, been following your work for a long time. Very excited to chat with you here. I think we may have met like very, very quickly, briefly at something at the Javits Center.
Possibly, yeah.
At like the Super 7 booth. I think it was the year that the Mothership project.
Yes. Yeah, I was at the booth the entire time for that. We also did a panel.
Yep. So it's nice to actually be able to sit down, get some real time with you and chat, because there's a lot to talk about. So before we jump into the main topic here, this is a show about collecting and collectibles. So tell us, what are you into right now? What's getting you excited in the toy and collectible world?
You know, it's funny. Throughout the years, I've just collected a lot of different things. You know, Star Wars, He-Man, whatever. Since I've been working at Super 7, I was basically lead design on G.I. Joe. So I took a deep dive into the vintage stuff.
Nice.
And right now I'm just kind of going through the Action Force UK stuff, specifically Red Shadows.
Okay.
Anything Red Shadow, you know, actual licensed stuff, bootleg stuff, like anything, just building my army of Red Shadows. So that's fun. And I've always kind of had a soft spot for Battle Beasts back when I was a kid. So every now and then I see them at like a swap meet or something, I'll pick them up, but not super die hard because those things are expensive. But you know.
Expensive, and they're hard to come by in good shape. Usually the mood ring heat sensitive chest pieces.
They're either gone or they don't work or they're burned out.
Yep. I was at a I want to say not this past summer, the summer before that. Took a drive up to Connecticut to shop the Curiosity toy show.
Okay.
And there was a guy at a table there that had he had to have 200-300 Battle Beasts, just like full table laid out. I was like, oh, is this the moment in my life where I get back into Battle Beasts? This is how it happens, huh?
I think I would have just spent my mortgage on that and just been like, come home very happy.
and they were in like varying stages of decay. But still, like, it was just cool to see that many. I was actually talking to Dan Larson, and like out of the corner of my eye, I saw them, and I was like, "You're gonna have to excuse me for a moment."
I'll be right back. Yeah, but funny. I picked up a box of just somebody selling their junk, and there was like a couple Battle Beasts, He-Man, whatever, and one that I never had before was a Visionaries.
Oh yeah, nice.
And it had like the emblem on the front, and I used to love those holographics. So it was like the holograms. So I not that I'm starting to collect those, but that's like on my interest list of I might jump into. I like collecting stuff that's limited. Like it had a limited run. It has a finite amount of stuff to collect.
Yeah. Getting
into new stuff's hard because you don't know if it's just going to keep going on and on and on. And
it's true. It's very true. Like space, but also some of these properties and IP is like I'm a big Star Wars, Marvel Legends, NECA horror, and every time, especially with like the NECA one's always funny because I love horror movies, and there aren't like that many horror icons, right? Like things that you would expect there to be figures of, but then like a new movie will come out, and all of a sudden the door is swung right back open, and I'm like, well. Okay, I guess I need every Terrifier figure now.
Yeah. Isn't Trick or Treat doing some of those too?
Yeah, Trick or Treat has some really cool 5-inch like retro like what if Kenner did Terrifier figures effectively. Which, listen, I mean, they made Alien, they made Predator figures. They were definitely doing stuff that was not kid appropriate. So it's out there. But yeah, the retro stuff is awesome, and Battle Beasts in particular. That's something that I am. It comes up so frequently on this show, and every time I am so blown away that nobody has tried to like properly revive that yet, especially with like the craze of like blind box, blind bag. Collectors, like putting those things in blind boxes where like you don't know what you're gonna get, like that would be crazy.
Super 7 talked about doing it. I think there was a licensing issue where they didn't know who had 100% of the license. I think Hasbro thought they owned it, but then maybe they didn't own it 100%. So I thought there was a licensing issue because we had talked about it at one point, but I came and went. That was a few years ago.
I mean, that would make sense. The licensing thing is a big hurdle to get over, especially some of those older brands.
A lot of companies went out. I was talking with a friend about the Inhumanoids, not Inhumanoids, Supernaturals, the ones with the full hologram, and they were owned by Tonka, but then they were bought out by somebody else, maybe Hasbro, but nobody really knows who has the license, so you don't know.
And the last thing you want to do is go down the road and then all of a sudden, having spent all of like the development money on it, to not be able to do anything with it.
That's happened before. Not with me, but that's kind of what I'm into. I'm into the retro stuff. I like some of the newer stuff. I'm not to pat myself on the back. I like the G.I. Joe O-rings here.
Yeah.
Just because O-ring. You know, it's like we grew up.
Yeah.
With it. At least I grew up with it. You know, it's so much fun, and to make it like the cartoon, which I also grew up with, it's just like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that has been really cool to see those Reaction Pluses do some of the kind of wonkier Sunbow stuff, like
Yeah.
the Zartan from Cold Slither and
Yeah.
Cobra Commander and like the cape and the characters from the either the movie or the Sunbow TV show. I mean, that's for most people, I think, especially like of a certain age, right? Like that is aesthetically has become what GI Joe is. It's either the comic book or
Yeah.
the TV show. So to see everybody that's in playing in like kind of the GI Joe universe to be pulling inspiration from that is really cool to see.
Yeah,
I think it's a long time coming.
That was part of the contract with Super 7, because that, going back to you were talking about the mothership, we originally designed the mothership to be for Reaction. And then part of the agreement was, no, we're going to get into Reaction Plus, and this is going to be our debut. So we debuted like it was a mothership pilot.
Yeah,
we actually created that from scratch, and then it was based off the Viper, but kind of its own thing. And then the agreement like furthered along saying, no, you can only do Sunbow that's not vintage, has to be Sunbow, and it has to be stuff that hasn't been done before, is what they said.
Okay.
Still an issue, we designed stuff that has been done before, but looks like the cartoon. So I really enjoyed that. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So speaking of what you're working on, let's talk a little bit about Scrambled Eggs Creative. Very, very cool name. Lot to think about visually with that. How did you come about that name, and what does it really kind of represent to you in terms of what you're doing?
Yeah, that's a funny one, because I threw that around for a very long time. I would come up with a name, and I would ask my wife, like, what do you think of this? And she'd be like, that's terrible. That's terrible. And we would go back and forth, and I wanted something whimsical, but I wanted something memorable. Like, I used to be M. Gulen Proto, but like, that's not memorable. No, like, yeah, it's my name, but nobody's going to remember that. And I was looking around, and everybody was doing their own thing, like Smith Design or whatever. It's just kind of like, no, I want something fun. Like you have Super 7 or Plastic Meatball or something goofy like that.
Yeah.
And then at the time, we just had our baby, and we were kind of we went through a big IVF journey to have our daughter, and we always called her the little egg that could. And it's kind of like, I wanted to mix the egg part of it in there, but then I did like little egg, and I did a cracked egg and design. I'm like, this just looks weird. So I kind of went with just scrambled eggs, because everybody loves scrambled eggs, but they do it their own way. And it's kind of like, that's what we can do. We can do the funny stuff. We can do the serious stuff. We can do the disgusting stuff, whatever you want. And it's all kind of under that realm. It does have a more playful feel, because I feel like working with clients, to come out with something really grotesque as your mascot or something might push people off. But that's kind of where I went with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So first of all, congratulations. I am all too familiar with the IVF journey personally, so I can. Yeah, it is a brutal process, but it's worth it in the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, that's super cool. And to your point, like, scrambled eggs is about making them, right? Like you said, everyone does it a little bit differently. So
I do
really clever.
plain Jane with ketchup on top, and my wife hates it. She makes them with like cheese and something a little more built up, and I'm just like, no, I don't need that. It's kind of like everybody has their own thing.
Personally, I'm a little bit of Tapatio hot sauce and everything bagel seasoning.
Yeah,
sprinkle a little bit of the everything bagel seasoning on top with the hot sauce. We're cooking. We're in business.
I can do that.
So you've worked for some pretty big names in the toy world. Like we've been talking kind of a lot about Super 7, and you worked at McFarlane here in the secret satellite office in New Jersey for quite some time. What experience from those years kind of shaped your approach when it came time to start your own creative adventure here?
That's a good question, actually. I mean, I worked at McFarlane for 18 years, 19 years,
Wow.
something like that. 1999 is when I started the New Jersey office. Um, and if you know McFarlane, they started with the monster stuff, the Spawn stuff, the grotesque Clive Barker stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I got into toys, because I loved. The first toy I remember buying from McFarlane was the was a Wetworks Vampire, I think it was,
Okay.
and it was just cool. It was different than everything else out there. So I went there, and we eventually picked up sports and movie titles and all that. But it was always the one thing I learned from Todd was really just capture the details, but capture the essence of the character. You can sculpt the character perfectly, but there might be something missing, which is why he always did the poses. The Spawn with the arm up and the cape flowing. It kind of really captured the character, and that's one thing I wanted to take from that was capture the character. Super 7, on the other hand, was more of the nostalgia, like not specifically nostalgia, but what sparks that interest and joy when you hold something like a figure in your hand. Like when you were a kid, I pick up a Battle Beast, but I remember in my head playing with them when I was 12,
Yeah.
Same with G.I. Joe. And just those memories come flooding back. And that was amazing to pick that up from Super 7 and Brian and everybody there, just kind of like pushing that nostalgia. I've learned so much about toys I didn't even know existed. A lot of the Japanese and the Toho and all that. I had no idea that stuff even existed. And it was neat to learn all that stuff. So I kind of wanted to take those two worlds and bring it together. So when you look at the visuals of the new project I have, it's kind of a little bit of both in there. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was one of the things that kind of I think a lot of us went through a phase in like the late 90s, early 2000s where because of what McFarlane was doing and what you guys were doing there with those kind of the twisted what was it, the
the
Alice,
Twisted Eyes.
yeah, Twisted Alice, and
Yeah.
the movie Maniacs, and even the stuff that was going on with the different Spawn lines at that point. It made it feel less like you were buying a toy and more like you were buying an art piece.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of us, that was like a new kind of way to look at it and a way to kind of like graduate to a degree, right?
At the time, it was like there was the toys, and I think like Sideshow and a couple other people were making the high-end sculptures. But, at 20, 25, 26, I can't afford a $200, $300 statue every month. And the great thing about the McFarlane stuff was it was an affordable statue.
Yeah. Yep.
You could go
And
buy it
they're
for
accessible.
$15. Yeah. Toys R Us had them.
Yep. Yep. I used to get mine at either Toys R Us or from Mill Creek Mall, Suncoast Video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to have them. But like, yeah, I mean, it was the amount of detail that was in those things. Even I mean, some of them still hold up so well today. Like, 20, 30 years later. And you guys
the comic covers to me were the epitome of Todd's stuff. Like when he started saying, just make this cover and that cover and this cover, and we would make it exactly like that. And it was just, they're timeless. I mean, because the comics are timeless. So
yeah. And you guys had some heavy hitters there, like a lot, like especially in that New Jersey office, like people that went on to, continue to like yourself, influence the design aesthetic of the toy industry. So
well, it's funny. It was a small, at the time, even now, it's a small industry. You had a couple of the big companies, but when I started McFarlane, they were sort of big. They were like the little medium pond. They weren't a Hasbro or Mattel. NECA wasn't around at the time. None of these other guys were around at the time. So it was a very tight group of artists, and then when they started breaking off and doing their own thing, the Horsemen did their own thing. Like that was groundbreaking. And then you had a couple other studios do that. You'll find it with other studios that are out now. They're breakoffs from Super 7 or Hasbro or wherever. It's kind of cool. But it's really like, as far as like sculptors and designers, it's probably the same 100, 200 people that's been doing it for years.
Yeah, like we always run into one of my favorite sculptors across the entire industry, Gene St. Jean.
Yeah.
We always run into.
I knew you were going to say his name too. It's funny.
Really?
Yeah, I just knew it.
Yeah, we run into him, another New Jersey guy, but we run into him at like local shows, and it's just like, again, some of the stuff that's out there, like you said, like you guys have been doing this. It's just kind of, you move around from place to place and carve out your section somewhere. And
I will say the one hit of reality is when I go to like the local antique mall and I see stuff that I've worked on, and it's like $5 firm. Like, they won't take less than $5. Like, all right, but like, I worked on that. It's so weird. It's like, am I an antique now?
No, you're not an antique, but some of the things that you've worked on, might be. Yeah, because what's the rule? I know the rule with cars, right? Like, you become a classic car after 20 years.
After 25 years.
So if you've got some 25-year-old pieces out there from McFarlane, you can get special plates for them. It'll be great. But yeah, after 25 years of designing toys for other companies, what was really kind of your turning point where you were like, 2025, here we are, it's time to do something that's like mine, that belongs to me?
Honestly, it's funny. It's really just the state of the industry. Kind of, I don't want to say forced my hand, but it kind of put a fire under my butt to kind of do something. When I left McFarlane in 2018, which is when the New Jersey office closed, I tried to do my own thing with some colleagues. We had an investor. There's a couple things on my portfolio, like the Taylor Swift and Mark Tremonti sculptures. That just didn't pan out. That was right before COVID. And we kind of had this business plan together. We had these prototypes. We went to go have meetings, and it kind of just dissolved because everybody wasn't really doing anything for that. But in the meantime, I was freelancing for Super 7, got hired on freelance for that because we worked remote for Super 7 for years. And then was laid off in May from that. Again, due to tariffs and pricing issues and all of that. So I didn't specifically want to start my own thing and say, I'm making my own company. It was more of a backup plan for starters. Looking for full work, just not getting anywhere in the industry, like having a couple interviews, but somebody with 25 years of experience, they're not chomping at the bit for some reason to get to somebody like me when they can hire somebody a little younger, a little cheaper, whatever it is. So I just kind of, in my head, I was like, well, let me try this again. I'll start something new. I'll have some of the same colleagues help me, a group of people. I'll have new colleagues that I have from Super 7 at this point, and just kind of set myself up for when the industry comes back. I'm there for, okay, maybe Hasbro, Super 7, Valaverse, they don't want to hire anybody immediately, but they're looking for freelancers. And I'm a one-stop shop. Like, I can take your idea and do concept all the way to final production, basically. So that's kind of the idea, just kind of as a backup plan, but it's kind of snowballed very quickly into doing my own thing with a license and licenses. Hopefully, we'll see in the next month or two, and some other stuff. So, so it's really exciting.
We like to say at Adventures in Collecting, we're not an if podcast, we're a when podcast. So when you get those other licenses.
Yes, I will be back and talk about them then.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubzywubzy.com. That's CHUBZZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
First of all, it's tough as I like to think of our podcast and what we do on social media as toy journalism. I try to stay we try to stay as objective as we possibly can, report what's going on, give people the platform to have these open conversations where they get to talk about their passions and stuff, which means that we've made a lot of friends over the years. We've met a lot of people. We've we've from all different types of companies. So when everything started to go kind of sideways in the past year or so, it's been very tough to watch as our friends and people we have so much respect for have been put in a situation where they're struggling, so it's really, really cool to see, somebody like yourself venture into this new kind of realm and create something really cool, which is, kind of what led us to having this conversation today and to talk about your collab with Any Means Necessary. So tell me a little bit about the project.
All right. Yeah. So again, like I said, it kind of snowballed. Like, I didn't expect to pick up a license so fast. I thought I would just do a lot of design work, whatever. I have a friend, Bart, who runs a licensing firm, and just random one day said, "Hey, you got anything interesting?" I'm technically a startup. Yes, my pedigree is 25 years, but I'm a startup. And he said, he introduced 2 licenses. One was a little bigger, a little bit out of my scope. Not that I couldn't do it. I just kind of wanted to stay away from it for now. Any Means Necessary to me was just amazing. It reminded me of the old Todd McFarlane stuff. He was just fresh on the scene, and that's what I loved about Sean's stuff here with Any Means Necessary, Sean Koss. And I like the fact that it has a message behind it. His whole message behind his artwork is mental health awareness. So all his drawings are based off of whatever disorders are out there, or depression, whatever you can think of that's affecting basically everybody in the world. He's doing this pretty dark art. It's his way of expressing it, but to me, with my background, and then obviously everybody goes through this kind of stuff, it really just sang to me, and looking through his artwork, I was just blown away by it. So this one specifically, he had kind of on a back burner for 5-6 years. He had drawn this character, written up a little story of her, which you can read in the Kickstarter campaign. And it's just kind of something he just kept falling back on. And when I first had my meeting, he was like, "This one's cool. I don't know if it's a toy or whatever." He's like, "I got more popular designs, but this one sang to me because it was different. It was unique. It was colorful, for one. And as the toy maker, I mean, and as you're familiar with repaints and recolors, to me, it sang it's a fresh palette. I could do so many different things with her, put so many different messages on her, and really just get different stories across. And that's kind of what we did for this first Kickstarter. Was started with the what we're calling prototypical, the blue and white, but then for the toy lovers, we have the glow in the dark, the happy pills, which is kind of a different story. The bright yellow. And then I came up with the shadow one just because I love translucent toys. But on the other hand, it's got its own story of being in the shadows, feeling like you're always stuck there and not important, that kind of thing.
Well, first of all, I mean, the story behind these, mental health is extremely important, especially in, today's landscape of things,
Yeah.
regardless of any sort of affiliation. We need to take care of ourselves and each other. So,
Yeah.
kudos for helping, get that message out there. But also, I just love the detail here, because there's something sort of creepy about it. There's something sort of uplifting about it. And it's, to use a sometimes overused word, it is very toyetic,
Yeah.
for something that uh has such kind of a heavy undertone to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the colorways are crazy cool.
Thank you. That's kind of why we lean towards the wording of it's a companion. We're calling it a vinyl art toy because we need to tell the masses what it is. But we're calling it a companion because, there's that sense of loneliness everybody has. And to be able to have something in your hand and hold it, even if it is a plastic toy, again, calling back to nostalgia, sometimes you're holding a He-Man figure or something, but you remember a great moment with your parents or something, and it's just healing. It's for lack of better terms. So this one really spoke to me. Like Sean was on the fence about it, but then once I showed him the sculpture, he had a sculpture done a few years ago, and it was very art toy. It was very, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was very clean, very straight. And my McFarlane background was like, nah, we can make this creepier, like let's just detail it, make it creepy. And I sat down with my colleagues, Ramsey and Dave, and we really just kind of looked at it and said, how do we make this art toy, but how do we make it super cool and detailed and grotesque and kind of work in the realm that we're familiar with?
Yeah.
That's kind of where we got there. And I showed Sean the new sculpture, and he's like, oh yeah, that's it. Like it just clicked with him immediately.
There's a saying, I know I'm gonna absolutely butcher it, but it's like, sometimes there's beauty in in horror.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what's happening here. And I mean, you could see, in kind of the washes on this, and the just the details in the dress, and it's, both beautifully sculpted but also kind of raggedy and
Yeah,
and frayed.
that's her
And
story, man. That's her story.
yeah,
She
it's
she might be grotesque or disgusting to other people, but to some and herself, she's beautiful. She's unique. That's kind of the story behind her, and I think everybody can relate. That's
yeah.
great. And in any way, as confident as you are, there's always that little part of you that's like, maybe not.
And also, I'm happy to hear there's another translucent toy lover out there. It's
Yes.
one of my
Translucent and glow. I had to hit them both in the first
Yep.
campaign.
For me, it's translucent then glow, like
Okay.
in terms of like. So I'm glad the option's there. So Kickstarters, are as much about community as they are about kind of the funding of projects. How has the response been so far, and what's it been like connecting directly with supporters for something with such a important part of your career here?
Yeah, it's been great. Everybody who has backed it or reached out or in Sean's community, like I'm on his Discord and Facebook group, they love it. They love what it is and what it represents. I think we haven't fully funded yet. We have another 9-10 days to go. We're very close. I don't see any issue why we wouldn't. But I think because it's so different, than the normal toy, it's its own IP, it's Sean's thing. I think his fans they gravitate to it, but they don't really know what to do with it because they're not toy people.
Yeah.
And the toy people like it, but they're like, I don't know, does it go with my Marvel guys? I don't know. So it's kind of in between. And I think there's going to be more stuff going on in the next week that I'm going to post showing it with other figures and stuff, just kind of show you where it is in the realm of other toys. But that's kind of where we're at. The people love it. It's just a matter of getting them to back it.
Yeah.
And once it's back, this is the beginning of many things. I signed a 2-year license with Sean, for not only vinyl toys, but we have resin action figures, blind box, and plush.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm already working on plush. Hopefully, be out soon. I have designs for all the other ones. So as long as this goes over smoothly and everybody loves the stuff, then we'll get into the really detailed. I started with this because the price point is nice. To go into resin, you're talking to $200
Yep.
for a
Yep.
retail. Action figures, I can do a $30, $40 price tag, but the tooling cost on that is so high that I didn't want to start with that either and just put myself on hold. You know,
Yep.
this
Yep.
one is a happy medium, and I do think, I think you said it before. It's kind of like it's a vinyl toy, but it's an action figure. It's kind of a little of both.
Yeah. And I mean that's kind of what I was gonna get at next. I'm glad you mentioned the plush and blind box things, because this piece, especially at 8.5 inches tall, with the kind of amount of detail and everything that's on there, it feels like a place that exists somewhere between the designer art toy and kind of like the mass market vinyl
Yeah.
toy scene, like the stuff that you're seeing at like Pop Mart and and
Yeah.
places like that. Do you see this as kind of like the direction, or maybe like the place that Scrambled Egg is going to exist in terms of offering?
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the categories. I kind of liked exactly what you said. It's kind of the best of both worlds there. I mean, I'm trained for mass market design. You
Yeah.
know, when I started with McFarlane through Super 7, I'm trained to do the costing, the pieces, the tooling, all that, intricate stuff as I'm designing. But then there's always been that art toy lover in me. I've dealt with the art toys. I've made the art toys. Recently I did one for Gorilla Nems. That's just fun, goofy stuff. And it was kind of like, but it's not, it's just as difficult to make that stuff as it is to make mass market stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's more
it's
challenging because it's the pricing on it. If you're doing 200-300 pieces, that's a lot more challenging than doing 2,000, 3,000 pieces because of cost. So yeah, I kind of wanted to meld the best of both worlds with those designs. And I'll always have that super detailed background from McFarlane in me. And I think this is one struggle I had at Super 7 with simplifying everything. And,
Yeah.
and wiping the detail. When I first started, I really struggled. I'm like, I don't understand what you mean. Don't make it look cool. Like, I don't get it. But then I understood where they were going with, no, it's super cool because it's simplistic and it's nostalgic. And then I totally got it because, again, I jumped into that world. And, this just kind of meets in the middle,
Yeah. Yeah. Why are all these surfaces smooth and don't have a dark wash on them? What's happening? Where's all the detail?
Yeah.
No, but it's really interesting. So like having seen what you've done at McFarlane, the detail, the grime, the grit, and kind of the simplistic things at Super 7, this project does exist in the middle, and you can see both parts of your 25-year career like kind of coming together here,
Yeah.
which is really, really interesting. Like it honestly, whether you're familiar with the source material or not. I mean, this is something which is why I asked that art toy question, because I feel like art toy collectors, they're a little more open to just getting something that looks cool, right? Like they're not trained to be adherent to like an IP or a franchise or something like that. Like if they see a piece that speaks to them, just like anybody who's buying anything in like the art space, whether it's a painting, a sculpture, if you see something that speaks to you, you get it. And I feel like this is something that is shouting with a megaphone to people like that.
Cool. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that brings us kind of to today, right? Like where we are today. When you look at what everyone else is up to, all of these independent creators, platforms like Kickstarter, the limited run designs and storytelling, what kind of has you excited most about the future of the toy industry?
I think IP, just new IP, things that don't exist. I don't take this negatively. I don't want to sound negative, but how many Batmans, how many Spider-Mans, how many Wolverines can you have in your collection before you kind of get tired of it? I don't know. Like, that's kind of my collecting. It's like, if I'm going to get an Optimus Prime, I only need one or two, maybe, if he's got a totally different look. I don't need 50 because he's got a double joiner here. That's just me as a collector. There's a guy out there yelling, I have 50 Batmans and I want 51. I get it. But, it's, to me, it's like, all right. But, like, that's what's exciting about this. It's like, you've never seen this before. You don't have anything to compare it to. You don't have, I do it myself. I buy a toy and then I'm comparing it to something that already exists. And then it kind of like takes that magic away of, why am I collecting this? If I don't really like it, why am I buying it?
Yeah. But
this to me it's so new. And his artwork, if anybody listening gets a chance to look through his library of artwork, it's just fantastic. It's very Edward Gorey, Tim Burton-esque, really creepy stuff, but it has a really sharp edge message to it. And that's what I really like about it. And just looking through the library, I can't wait to tap into some of that artwork that he's got going on. It's going to make great product. Some of it is so crazy, I don't even know how we're going to make it into product. We're going to try. But yeah, I mean, that's really what kind of excites me. And that's what I really loved about like you said, the art toys. Some of them are just so crazy and off the wall. Even like there was a whole enamel pin scene.
Yeah.
Getting away from toys. I would make enamel pins. I have another company that I make like tchotchkes and stuff and sell on Etsy. And we got into the enamel pins and just seeing artists just make product out of their 2D art and make a bit of a living off of it or a hobby out of it. To me, it was so cool to see what they could do with all that. And it was just so unique,
Yeah.
So unique.
Oh, I'm a sucker for some enamel pins. I don't have enough jacket for the amount of pins that I have not stuck to jackets.
Yeah.
But it's I'm also excited for those new fresh IPs because even outside of just doing, the toy podcast and being kind of exposed to all the news all the time, it is the stuff that gets me excited is like, Jada putting out Tony the Tiger and like
I actually have the monster cereal ones too.
Yeah. Like those kinds of releases and that's another reason why I'm a fan of NECA's horror stuff, because like I said before, it's like, now I have an Art the Clown figure and he's got an actual trash bag filled with weapons of violence, like
you're never gonna get that anywhere else.
Yeah, like that's the cool thing about toys is like you can have that balance. Like people who want He-Man and Wolverine and Batman and Spider-Man, they have those options. They're always going to be there. There's always going to be an opportunity for somebody to grab a Spider-Man figure. But in the same breath, they can also have a really cool art piece or something that's completely new and fresh, or a Plunderling, or any of the like the Jersey Devil figure that I just got from Four Horsemen.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Which I never thought in a million years. Like as soon as they announced it, I was like, "Oh, New Jersey native, I need this."
Well, they're from New Jersey, so they had to do it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
No,
but
it's true. It's funny though. Like the ones that have been done before, like like I said, Batman, Turtles, whatever. I love seeing those that are fresh takes on. When you see like art versions of those, or just like, oh, this is the Frank Miller Batman. Like that doesn't look like any other Batman. Like those things, to me, those things ring out, and I would probably buy or collect those. Some of the other stuff I might, it's just like, but again, how many can you have?
Well, I always keep this near me because this Kenner Batman in a the last thing Batman should be wearing.
Is that the Arctic one?
It's the Arctic one.
Yes.
Because to this day, Batman in a white suit feels just so wrong. But I always keep this figure within arm's length of me at my desk because this figure taught me one very important thing at the ripe age of like 7, that colorways are cool.
Yeah.
And if you like a thing and it comes in a wacky colorway, like keep an eye out for that. And I love that. And that's eventually why I fell in love with
Yeah.
Sofubi stuff. And like to have like a day glow orange Godzilla,
Yeah.
that like to take it back to Super 7, that the burning Ultimates Godzilla, that's just a translucent orange Godzilla.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Did
That
you
is
see the new
perfect.
one that's lighting up? There's one they have.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
super cool. But even like these guys, the Mummy Boys, where is he? Right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
I've been picking up those just because it's a fun character, but he comes in like a billion different colors.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. I love the opportunity to just add that kind of splash to the display, to the, unfortunately, another part of the pandemic and the tariffs and everything, or really the tariffs, not so much the pandemic, but when Super Plastic kind of had that fire sale of everything that they had in their warehouse, I picked up their Gorillas figures, the vinyl Gorillas ones,
Nice.
and I now have a Dayglow pink, green, blue, and orange.
Pop of color.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Awesome.
It looks bizarre next to the Razor Quest, but it's great. It's great. I love it. So remind our listeners, our followers, this is going to be airing on November. If you are listening to this on the date of airing, it is November 3rd. So you only have a couple days left to back.
3 days at that point. It ends on November 6th. There will be late pledges allowed as long as it funds. Again, we're only like 6,000 away. I don't think we're not going to hit it. So after November 6th, you can still come in and pledge late. You won't be able to get the specials or the super secret stuff that's in there. But everything is still available. Yeah,
and we'll just kind of just take us real quick through the different options one more time. I'm gonna, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can play along and see what we've got here. But
just go to Kickstarter and Google Bag Lady, and it'll Bag Lady Vinyl, and it comes up like the first name. So our pre-launch was kind of our own website. We advertise. You come to the website, you put your email in for the mailing list. And we sent you a special link that gave you the super discounted price on basically everything that we have available. So you get all 4 figures, the stickers, the enamel pins, the art prints, which Sean did, which are brand new art prints for this Kickstarter exclusively for us. A signature certificate, a funny prop bag that's actually going to be screen printed. This design not broken. So that's kind of everything that's available at one awesome price. Like, you're not going to be able to get it that cheap anywhere else.
Yeah, and then there's, as it is with every other Kickstarter, right? Like, those are your options in terms of backing. So you can pledge to get 1, 2, 3, all 4 with pins, with stickers.
The collector in me set it up where you can't just back the glow or the translucent. You have to go through the tiers to kind of get to it. You can cheat it by, if you pledge the prototypical, you can do an add-on for the shadow trick, So if you just want the translucent. But I had somebody ask, like, how do I just get the glow? I'm like, well, you got to buy the 2-pack. Because that's kind of, again, it's the collector in me. It's going to make it more scarce. It's going to make it a little bit more fun to collect. But yeah, everything's going to be available as add-ons. We did also add on 2 exclusive art prints from Sean too that are new art. These 2 here, they're 11 by 17, I think.
Yep. Very cool. Very, very cool.
The Guy Clee prints, the larger ones, which are his new artwork, which is the one picture on the left. I think if you go to the next picture, you can see that, or it's down further. Those are available as like high-end Guy Clee prints. One's going to be standard, one's going to be foil. they're available as add-ons too. They also offered wholesale stuff, 6 packs at a discounted price. We are talking to a couple of distributors who are looking at picking up the product. They're pretty excited for the whole gambit of 2026, 27 product, not just this one. But they're interested in pretty much all of it. So the stretch goals are fun. This one was another art piece of his that really sang to me, was the Heartbreaker. She has a new accessory here. She's got the bloody heart in her hand. So that's going to be available if we get to 70. Then I think later on there's accessory packs and different heads. The accessory pack here, just different weapons you can put with her. Different things.
That's great. Yeah, different heads and arms and stuff.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, we'll make sure to put the link to this in the description. We all know in terms of how Kickstarters go and everything, those last 48 hours are absolutely clutch. People tend to either back really early or wait till the absolute last minute.
Yeah, the first 24 hours was amazing. Then I was like, oh, okay, we'll see.
Yep. Then everything plateaus off for a bit, and then with 36 hours to go, everyone likes to make every creator sweat, and instead of just getting it out of the way early. But so we'll make sure that we put a link to this in the description, so that way if you are listening, if you are watching, you can simply hit the link and secure the bag, as the kids say these days.
I like that.
Michael, where can folks keep up to date with you on social media?
I am Scrambled Eggs Creative, creative.com, Scrambled Eggs Creative on Insta, and then Facebook as well.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to chat today. This is an amazing project, and I can't wait to see this cross the finish line, and I can't wait to see what you do next and have you back on to talk about it.
Thank you. I love it. Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
All right. And with that, folks, we will see you next time. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review this podcast wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Learn more about him in the show notes. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Adventures in Collecting, and on Twitter at AIC_podcast. Stop by and say hi. Show us your hauls and photos. Tell us your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it on a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.